What's up, my Reflex dude? Okay, we finally got the Reflex track remakes for MX vs. ATV Legends. This is the old Pinetop, bro. Oh, man. Let's take a look. I'm hoping to see big scaling. I'm hoping to see Big Daddy jumps. Whoa, yeah, that's got it. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm liking the vibe so far. Ooh, MX vs. ATV. Did you listen to what I was saying, bro? Did you make that scaling a little bit bigger, bro? Oh, man. This looks like they might have got this damn near perfect right here. I'm going to just say that right off the bat. Oh, dudes. Yeah, this is what I was looking for right here. Unfortunately, on their other throwback track, DLC tracks that they made, especially like the Supercross ones, I feel like they just didn't really feel like the older MX vs. ATV games that those particular tracks came from. But this one right here, so far, the Reflex track remake seems to be the ones that they have spent the most time on. They put the most effort in, which makes sense because that's probably what people care the most about, I would think, at this point, right? I mean, that's kind of what I feel like this Throwback DLC track pack is all based around, really, is these Reflex track remakes. This is kind of interesting. Little bit different vibe, but not terrible. It's just the fact that they've got the right kind of scaling going on here, you know what I mean? It actually feels more like you're on a Reflex style track versus just like a, whoa, it's almost like tricking me up because I'm not used to hitting jumps and stuff in this kind of big scaling like this on Legends, because there's not really any other tracks on Legends that feel like this, you know what I mean? So that really makes it one of a kind right there. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They totally fucking nailed this Pinetop, like, better than any of those other, throwback DLC tracks. This is better than any of them right here. Okay, let's try to actually hit this jump. Tossing it. Sipping it, whipping it. Whoa, Spency boy. Bro, that's a pretty big jump. You might have to, I've got my bike set up on maximum acceleration right now. You might want to tune that a little bit to get a little more top speed to actually jump up over that. But we're on the afternoon time of day as well, bro. This is just doing it for me right here, MX vs. ATV. This is just doing it for me. This straight up just took away all that negative, bad shit that I was saying about all those other, throwback DLC tracks that they've done so far. Me talking about it's not really worth it because of some of those and shit. This makes it totally worth it right here. This track alone makes the throwback DLC track worth it. I mean, it's like not even comparable, bro. Even just the visual look of it, it's got this cool kind of like updated Pinetop, almost like if you would imagine like a Reflex remastered kind of looking Pinetop or something. That's kind of what it reminds me of, but they fucking nailed it, bro. Y'all boys nailed it, bro. This is total redemption from all the bullshit they were doing with like the Untamed, Unleashed throwback tracks, Supercross tracks, I even think this is a lot better than the Alive tracks that they did. This is way better. This is giving me vibes like, holy shit, like, if they just made more of their normal tracks down this sort of a vibe, more like that Reflex scaling kind of vibe. Bro, I can't get over the jumps. Oh, that's always a good sign, boys, when it's like, it takes you a minute to kind of learn the jumps, like back in the Reflex days, you couldn't just, hit everything perfectly on the first lap. You kind of had to learn what you were doing a little bit. Oh, that's a huck fatty, bro. Oh my goodness, MX vs. ATV. Yes, bro. This is what everybody was looking for, I feel like. This is what everybody wanted right here. And even just, see this right here, MX vs. ATV, you need to learn from this. See how you can put in something that's like based off of a Reflex, you know, stock track, if you made more of your normal stock tracks in the game like this, scaling wise and jump size wise, it would make the entire game better. That's what I was trying to say back in the days of, like, you know, trying to compare a bunch of the different tracks from, like, All Out and Legends, and you need to make them more like the Reflex stock tracks because it just makes more sense in a arcade dirt bike game. This is proof right here that one-to-one realistic scaling is not better in a arcade dirt bike game. This should be proof to you right here, bro. Some of them idiots trying to act like them tiny one-to-one tight, narrow scaling ass tracks are good in an arcade dirt bike game. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And you should know that as soon as you get on a track like this right here. This is arcade dirt bike gaming right here. This is arcade fucking track designs right here. This is it right here, bro. Oh, man. Oh, man. I swear, dude, I've been trying to say it forever, you know, but we've been trending down this direction of, you know, smaller, littler, tinier jumps, fucking easier bullshit. Bro, I haven't been able to get over that triple one time. Oh, man, this is great. This is amazing. This is probably as good as they possibly could have done a Pinetop, like, track remake on Legends. This actually does feel a little bit like you're playing Reflex. Of course, it's still Legends, but this feels a lot more like you're actually playing Reflex than when you got on, like, the Alive, you know, track remakes or the Unleashed track remakes, you know what I'm saying? This feels way more like you're actually playing that older game, like it's supposed to feel like when you're making a track remake, you know? This actually has that sort of feeling to it. And the visual look of it is badass as fuck, man. Like, this is absolutely sick. So I'll probably make a whole ass another video on, like, a rut tester on the Sandwick track, but we'll at least go check it out here. Just take a little look-ski at that one. But this Pinetop is perfectamundo, bro. Absolute perfectamundo, bro. All right, bros. Here we go on a little bit of Sandwick, Southwick, Sandwick. Let's see how they pulled this off here. Probably not going to have enough time to, like, really look at the deformation, like, in this particular video. But like I said, I'll do a rut tester on it. We'll really get to looking at it. Okay, got the nice little downhill right here. I feel like that Pinetop was perfect. I feel like that's really the main track that they were trying to base this whole Throwback, this first Throwback DLC track pack off of, and they fucking nailed it. The time when they need, the one particular track they needed to nail it on, they nailed it on. You know what I'm saying? I felt like everybody was more into that than, like, you know, the Alive track remakes or the Unleashed track remakes. Okay, and Spency Boy always tells you the real shit, you know? I don't hold anything back. I'm not just out here being Mr. Neutral Boy just because, like, I told you those tracks were not that good. And just how this Pinetop track remake is actually good, well, then I'll come in here and tell you it's actually good, okay? You see how, you know, that's me being real, you know? All those other fucking YouTubers that are like, you know, these tracks aren't too bad, you know, these tracks, oh, it's all pretty good, let's go check out the new track, everything's just pretty good, you know? It's like, no matter what they're talking about, that's what they always say about everything, you know? They won't really tell you the negatives, and they won't really tell you when something's actually good, so then you never know exactly what the hell to think, you know? Well, I try to be as accurate as possible with my opinions on it, man. So, okay, so with this Sandwick track right here, this jump feels pretty good right here. Like, the finish line jump feels pretty big. There are some areas on this one that do feel a little bit bizarre. Like, maybe not quite as accurate as, like, the Pinetop one was, you know, that sort of a vibe. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. It does feel sandy. I mean, it does feel like deep sand. But, like, this area right here is a little bit different, you know, kind of a little bit more, I don't know, kind of more off-cambery, hilly than it is on Reflex. They tried to kind of get the roughness vibe going through here a little bit, which is cool. This right here is a little bit different, you know. Kind of hard to like, okay, so they're running into that same problem they were running into on their actual Southwick track, pro track remake that they made, where the sand was like a little bit too frictiony at a higher speed. It's almost like you're not able to pick up the same momentum that you would have been able to on the original Sandwick, and that's kind of making the track feel a little bit different right there, you know? But like, overall, not terrible. Looks like a couple... Spency boy. Oh, man. Looks like a couple spot... You know, they've kind of changed a little bit of, like, their tree placement here and there and some of their little areas a little bit, you know. But as far as the on-track, I mean, it's close. You know, I'm not going to say it's not close. It is, but I'm just saying I think that Pinetop was even closer. That Pinetop felt to me like about as close as you could possibly get a track remake from a Reflex track into Legends. This particular track almost feels more like the feeling of the sand is what's making it feel kind of different. Kind of feels like you can't pick up as much momentum, especially when you get on a hill. Like it just, for some reason, and it was doing that on their Southwick Pro track this year, you know, after they've done some of those updates with the actual sand, like feeling and friction and all that, right? This just kind of feels like you're not picking up the same sort of momentum that you would have on the actual Sandwick back in the Reflex days, which is what gave it the fun factor and the skill gap and the replayability and all that kind of jazz, you know what I'm saying? This feels like you're not really able to pick up that, you know, if you just absolutely rail a corner perfectly on Sandwick on Reflex, it's almost like you can keep this really fast momentum going around the whole track. This doesn't really capture that vibe quite as much. I mean, the track's pretty good, but maybe they can update that sand feeling a little bit more over some more updates, and it would help the feeling of this Sandwick track right here. Like that right there doesn't really feel like it has as much of the like scaling up and down sort of vibe like it had on Reflex, you know what I mean? One really cool thing on Legends too, though, is you can actually go to a Reflex kind of camera, which is interesting. It is a little bit different than the normal camera in the game, so if you want to check that out, you can definitely do that. But yeah, so this is basically your Sandwick track right here. It just doesn't feel like you're going as fast. Like it does, like as far as if you're going from like 0 miles per hour to like, you know, 40 miles per hour maybe. That kind of feels somewhat similar to if you were on Sandwick on Reflex, but anything past that, it's not the same kind of momentum vibe that you would have had on Reflex. Kind of see the deformation forming up a little bit there. But yeah, so that's kind of the vibe with that. Let's go check out the Sugar Ridge track, which is like the other sand track on Reflex. Let's go check that shit out real quick. Pour some sugar on me. All right, we got Sugar Ridge here. Let's take a little gander at this one. All right, got that classical jump where you turn back to the left. Okay. Yeah, it's almost like when you get to these sand track remakes, this is kind of off right here to me a little bit. That corner, I think, sweeps a little wider than that on the actual one on Reflex. Yeah, they're struggling a little bit. You can tell they're struggling a little bit with the scaling on both of these sand tracks compared to like their Pinetop track. I don't know why. I can't really explain that one, but their Pinetop track felt exactly like the scaling that it would have been on Reflex, but their Sugar Ridge and Sandwick tracks kind of feel smaller. They kind of feel a little bit more condensed. You know what I'm saying? So it don't really feel as much like you're riding on like a Reflex style track. See that right there? See how quick that felt like I just went around the track? It doesn't feel that quick when you're playing on Sugar Ridge on the actual Reflex, you know? But it feels a lot quicker here on Legends because these corners are sweeping like tighter, you know? I don't know, it's like they're struggling to get the right kind of sand feeling like it was on Reflex for the kind of track design, you know what I mean? You tell they're struggling a little bit more on these ones compared to like the Pinetop one, you know what I mean? You can still hit that little jump right there. But yeah, that Pinetop was fucking money, dog. That Pinetop was right on the money, dog. These are just a little bit different to me. But I mean, it ain't like just terrible, you know. I'm just saying in comparison to the Pinetop track, these are a little bit more off to me. We'll see if they come out with any other Reflex throwback tracks. But yeah, basically, the throwback track DLC is worth it strictly for that Pinetop track. And then you're basically looking at all the other tracks as like an extra little added on, you know, sort of benefit. But you're pretty much getting the throwback DLC track for the Pinetop, you know, Reflex replica track. That's pretty much what you're getting it for, you know what I mean? But these tracks aren't terrible. I definitely think all these Reflex track replicas are the best ones, you know, out of all the different throwback tracks that they've done so far. But specifically the Pinetop one, that's the game changer. That's the one that you're gonna hop up. You're going to hop on and you're going to instantly realize like, oh, that's a Reflex track. Oh, this kind of feels like I'm playing Reflex. You know, that's the one you're going to get that kind of vibe on. You know what I'm saying? So either way, boys, you know, Spency Boy out here trying to tell you the truth, trying to get you the real opinions on this stuff. As always, you know who you got to come back to for that shit. Make sure you got all notification bells hit for the channel. We're going to be popping off in 24, boys. We've been playing a lot more of these different games, getting back into them, having some fun with it. So yeah, man, either way, appreciate all the support. Spency Boy been at it for a minute, and we ain't even started yet.